ACDI could be traced back to the 60s, 50s, 60s at saka 70s. At that time, ang mga eroplano sa Air Force were all hand-me-downs gikan sa mga Amerikano. And hindi naman sa they were remiss of their duties, but siguro sa edad na sa mga eroplano, daghang mga aksidenteng nahitabo itong muna, air-related incident. And the members of the aviation community sa Air Force found that the support to those na nabiling na members sa family atong mga na-involved sa mga aksidente hindi masyadong bigyan ng financial support. So we tried to look for a way wherein we can more or less help them. So we tried to look at the possibility of putting up a Savings and Loans Association, which is very popular in the armed forces, a bank, which would involve so much resources and capital, or a cooperative. So yun ang tinitingnan namin noon at that time. So something which will be which will touch the lives of those beneficiaries of our fallen comrades. So mga piloto ang unang organize nito. So there were 26 of us. I happen to be part of the original cooperators of ACDI NPC. We started with 200,000 peso capital, quite a substantial amount then, but it was what we need so that we can more or less start well rather than start small. So na-organize ito in 1981 and then we operated in 1982. So ang mga miyembro na original nito were pilots. So actively flying, but when we operated, we also offered the services to pilots who were already flying in Air Force. Pilots before who were already flying with the commercial airlines, corporate outfits. So pinaloan na mo ang initial na 200,000. Then we encountered problems. So kung sa aeroplano pa, nag-crash shot ang ACDI. Sa first year pa, nahurot. Why na bayad? So we learned the first lesson in any lending venture. So nagka-problema mi sa collection. So
in the first year,
okay, wa may mambayad kay pay us pay when able. So na-empty tong initial capital, so we have to think of other ways. So there was need na for you to be included in the automatic deduction, there is a facility in the Armed Forces Finance Center na kung magkakuha ka og 500 kabong members, maka-appeal ka sa automatic deduction system. Tak-tak na sa before you get your net pay.
Okay.
So that was the challenge also for us. Una is to raise additional capital, and number two is how to raise the number of borrowers na 500. So muna yung second lesson na sad namo nga how do you fightganisod naman ganin mi kay among the pilots na lantong so we have to expand to include all the members of the Philippine Air Force. So and how do we do that? We were only operating in Manila. So part of the strategy, as we have learned from the books, is do not fight head-on. So that was the time that we went into branching. Back in 1984, 85, we went into branching. So there were only a few Savings and Loans Association and cooperatives na nagbabranch noon, everybody was going to Manila. So, sakay sila o C47 o C130 para mag-loan. So, kung usahay, madugay ang flight back, mahurot na ito 4,000. It was a very successful strategy. So, we went into branching sa mga key Air Force bases. So, that was the time na hindako na ang ACDI. So we continued with the branching. Branching can easily be copied by the big players sa lending industries sa Armed Forces of the Philippines. Kaya mga nagko pa sila, nag-branchan sila. So we have to think of another way wherein we can be ahead of the other players. So that was the time na we went into computerization, and ACDI acquired its own system in 1981, a little ahead of the others. So diyan na nagsugod nga dako na yun ang ACDI. And the other thing that we did for our members is that we see to it that based on the cooperative principle, we plow back the earnings. Kasi for those who patronize the services of the cooperative, they can get back a good part of the retained earnings for the year in terms of patronage refund and also dividend. Up to now, it is an institutional cooperative. So it is open to members of the Air Force itong una, then we expanded to include the members of the Armed Forces of the other members of the Armed Forces of the Philippines, especially the Navy and the Marines. Last year, we opened it up to the Philippine Army. Last year lang nakan. Then we amended our bylaws to include those in other aviation-related industries. So, kay daghan naman mga piloto namo o mga crew na who joined airlines at saka mga aviation outfits at saka nagiging regulator na sa CAAP. So, they are still included in the consideration for being an institutional member of ACDI. Ang ihimo na mo is that we cannot generate the resources na kinahanglan sa mga miyembro namo in terms of finances. So financially, yung basic core principle na you borrow against your earnings ay hindi applicable sa akuan. Ang nahitabo sa mga miyembro namo, they leverage upon their service sa armed forces in order to look long term and support mga requirements sa family nila, especially education, housing, at saka mobility. So, walay igong puhunan sila nga ila sa hormone. So, what we did was we leveraged. So, we borrowed funds sa mikaya, katong mga nasa airlines na nag-retire na. So, we asked them to bring in their capital, then their retirement pay, their additional funds for investment sa ACDI. Number two, we have to source from other commercial banks and development banks. Ang number one partner na mo is still Land Bank, which is the partner of cooperatives. So, Land Bank has been very generous enough to provide us the capital for re-lending to our members. So, that was one of the key sa progress at saka pagiging number one na mo in terms of asset base. especially with the growing borrowing capacity of our members, we have to generate funds para for lending to them and at saka for other purposes. So kini mo iki sa pagdako, paglambo sa ACDI Multipurpose Cooperative. Our members has been given so much background on how to also to leverage on their capacity. Bali, imong iutang imong kapasidad so that you can provide for the requirements of your family, of your relatives din, kasi that's part of the Filipino culture. So, housing, mobility, education. A lot of our a good part of the earnings ng mga sundalo natin goes or went to the education of the members of their family. Apil na mga asawa nila, ang uban, no? So, giuna gini nila, a good portion of that goes to education. So, dako kay ng part sa income nila na gigahin niya, and they cannot support it based on the salary of the soldiers. So, in order to send them to good schools, better schools, better educational institution, they have to generate initial funds. Ani sila mangutang, ani sila they use their capacity to borrow, which we easily provided because these are very laudable purposes para they can be assured of a good future for their children. Number two, yung sa mga housing. So we provided housing loan, improvement of their existing facilities. So that's also another kind. Then mobility, kay kinalang mobile sila, kay mga sundalo, they have to move around. And another application also of the funds that the borrow is also for investment. But jutay-jutay pa ni sa in terms of investment because their investment is already in the basic requirements of education for their children, housing, mobility, at saka yung mga other consumption requirements.
Aside from loan services, unsa pa mga services sa ACDI?
Ang usa nga gi-push ko namo karon is livelihood loans. So livelihood loans at very concessional rate, ubos kaysa consumption rate, ay among gi-push so that those who are predisposed kanang mahilig nga makuha og mga ventures to be their income extenders ang tawag na mo ana, will be provided the necessary funds, and we also conduct training for them to bone up or learn more about the certain possible livelihood venture na sudlan nila. In the Air Force, we are very strong in the Air Force because we started in the Air Force. We operated for a long time in the Air Force. So practically 90% of the or over 90% ng members ng Philippine Air Force are ACDI members. So then we went into in the at the turn of 21st so it's 2004 ba to, we opened our services to the Philippine Navy at saka Marines. So we have practically half of the Philippine Navy and Marines as members of ACDI. Sa Philippine Army naman, we just started last year, April of last year. So, jutay pa ang members sa active Philippine Army. But on the part of the pensioners, for a total of around 120,000 armed forces pensioners, former members of the armed forces, a little over 40,000 na ang members sa ACDI. So kini karon ang pinakadako nga portion sa ACDI ang mga pensioners. Who happen to be, a lot of them happen to be also members ng ACDI before. Tumawid na. So, i-graduate na as active members of the AFP. Internally, we have invested itong una, we invested in franchises, but we have unloaded our investment in franchises because we believe that we have to invest in federations among cooperatives. So just like COOP TV for this matter. Internally, nag-invest mi karon sa we have substantial investment in our dairy and agri. So we have an agri-business division which takes care of our vegetable production and dairy. We have an initial input of dairy production unit in Ibaang Lipa area. So we would like to scale this up later on and other agri ventures. So that's for the internal, and then we have our own, since this was organized by pilots, we have our own aviation training school, leading edge International Aviation Academy. So we train pilots. A lot of our products are already flying with the airlines. So we intend to expand this some more. On the part of convenience stores, meron tayong mga initial na dalawang convenience stores. We intend to expand this and link this up with Coop Mart, which we intend to set up by this year. On the part naman of involvement with other cooperatives, we are in the thick of the movement of integrating yung mga cooperatives so that we can deliver services to the other primaries. This will be a series of federations among primaries to set up a service federation. So we have already worked with other cooperatives in the cooperative banks, cooperative insurance, cooperative health. We just established the COOP last year. So we are now we will be concluding the first year of its operation. We are now in the process of organizing the Coop Mart, which will be the logistics provider for the convenience stores, cooperative stores, and stores of the members of cooperatives in the country. Then COOP TV. So that's the other preoccupation of ACDI these days. We do a lot of cooperative social responsibility related projects. So we work initially with the AFP communities. So we support the CSR activities of bases, of camps, of Air Force, Army, Navy, and Marine units, so we can be closer to them. And then we work with the community around the bases, camps, and offices of ACDI. So because of our resources also for these activities are limited, so nagko-concentrate kami within the ambit of environment ng ACDI. And then for the federations, we'll be very supportive of the community-related activities of, for example, yung sa mga insurance companies, sa clients, sa mga co-op banks, and then co-op mo. So we'll have a lot of activities in conjunction with the other primary cooperatives na members of federation. Ang success talaga ng ACDI is rooted in the way we impart our educational and training doctrines sa mga miyembro namo na ang paggamit sa resources is not all for today. So they should look forward in the application, in the way they apply their funds. Namin na sa training, pagkatapos, good governance. Makita nila nga, makompare nila sa ubang institution, not only ubang institution in the armed forces, but in the commercial world, makita nila na there's that level of self-discipline. So pag nakita nila nga, may nangwarta ini, nga kwan, bisag hindi ko na may pakita nimo nga you're concerned about their welfare, about the direction of the cooperative. Makita nila ang diferensya. Mura pag makita nila nga, lahi ni. Kung sa Tagalog pa, hindi. Iba eh. So, muna among gustong parating sa kanila na iba itong ito para sa inyo. So we really try to find time for our staff, managers, and those in the areas, and for the members of the board and top management to go around. So we work through management of going around. So try to feel the pulse of our members and through our frontline units, may bawaan na mo kung ano ba ang mga gusto pa ng mga members. So all this success is rooted in the way we impart on our members the value of money. Number 2, we gave them good examples to good governance. And number 3, we see to it that we get updated of the latest trend developments sa mga miyembro nato at saka sa area sa kung sa mga naitabo na din sa mga areas where we operate. Ang pinaka-importante for everyone is the members of the cooperative board, yung management and staff of ACDI are there to serve you. And we would like to know more about your aspirations, your interests, and we'll be very much interested in further knowing this para mapaganda pa natin ang services ng ACDI for its members and the community. And in effect, we'll be contributing to the development of our country.